Welcome to Mechs on Deck, episode 20. Today, we are revisiting a topic that we have gone over kind of before. Some new, fresh spice on the T1 Switch. Is it back? Is the koala going to be alive? Are these going to be real things? Should it be real things?
Should it? Spicy.
Chewy, how you doing?
I'm good, man. For those who don't know, I have a thing about stuff on my hands, and it's been a day because I got red food coloring all over my hands. And it's bothering me. I'm good, man. It's been a day, that's for sure. It's been busy today, specifically. With fantasy football. But no, it's good. Just, sitting around waiting on group buys to finish up. Hopefully those get wrapped up soon. So it's been a busy week for Mechs on Deck, that's for sure.
It has. It has been a busy week. It was a good week though,
Very good.
Nathan Kim's stream went really well. The bumper stream went well.
Yep. Thank you all for showing up, talking, enjoying your presence in the Discord, all the new people in the Discord. So I still need to make that me reading off Twitch followers video. I do plan on doing that. I just kind of forgot about it yesterday, and I'll just put a big post-it note. Just be like, do that.
Yeah.
So, but we've got some awesome sponsors.
Yes, we do. So first and foremost, switchmod.net. You can go to switchmod.net/mechsondeck to get 4% off all of the stuff that Crawlbit has on his site. He's got lube, he's got stickers, he's got some DCS keycaps, he's got some Catawee springs. He's got all kinds of stuff over there, and he is running GMK Sandstorm. You don't get 4% off that, but definitely consider GMK Sandstorm. It starts next Monday, the 9th, I believe. So that will be up and running soon.
Yeah, it's a cool set. And when you're buying keycaps, you need a board. And when you need a board, you need springs and you need lube. So boom, one-stop shop for all that stuff. Dixie Mech is our next sponsor. So you can go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com. It helps us out, helps Dixie. He just wrapped up 8,008. Now we're into 9,009, which just started on the 1st. So $100 base kit for what is considered a classic set. Very cool to see. He's reworked some of the legends as well on the modifiers to make them a little more 2019, I guess. But set looks good. $100 base kit, something that we like seeing. So yeah, go check out. He's got a lot of other cool stuff: desk mats, shirts, more key set group buys coming relatively soon. I think he's trying to do one a month. So 9,009 is the desk mat for 9,009. Looks awesome, by the way. It's got the four. I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks like it's these four circles, and it's the beige and gray and red and green, and it's a cool looking. It's a really cool desk mat.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
So,
last but not least, we have Zap cables. You can go there to get your custom cables. You can either have them make them, or you can buy a DIY kit from there and get whatever color you want, put it together. You can watch our video where John walks us through how to build a cable. He also has some pretty cool stickers, as well as desk mats and some other pretty fancy looking stuff. So highly recommend checking out Zap cables, because they do have a little bit more than just cables. And of course, they are running the bumper here pretty soon, which this is the bumper prototype I built on for Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. I still have the polycarbonate flippers in. This board's awesome. You can check out the VOD on our YouTube channel. Well, here on YouTube. We are doing a giveaway. John has graciously offered up a slot in the group buy. There will be a link in the description. It's a gleam.io link, and you can check that out, get all your entries, and win yourself a free bumper.
Yep. So today, we've in the last week, this has kind of been something that's happened across the last 2 weeks. But we are going to be talking about T1 switches and koala switches. So if you don't know what T1 switches are, we have an episode where we did talk about them a few months ago. But basically, it was just a quick overview. T1 switches were released originally by KBD fans. They were supposed to be a Holy Panda alternative. They are very tactile. I have some. They're fine switches. They're not personally my forte. I think there are some issues with them that I will talk about in a little bit. And then there was a group buy going for what is called the koala switch. And so at the time, we'll kind of dive back in really quick and just do a brief overview of the issues that happened.
Yeah. So basically, there was the T1 and then the koala switch that was running in group buy during the great KBD fans Zeal PC scandal of 2019. We'll call it. So basically, if you're not familiar with what happened, KBD fans was selling knockoff Telios. They said that they didn't quite know exactly that they were fake. Turns out the manufacturer that was making those fake Telios was also the manufacturer for the T1 when Way and KBD fans decided to completely stop production of those switches and stop buying them and just cut ties with that factory. It also meant the T1 would no longer be made. That's what they thought, because it was
made and sold through KBD fans.
Yeah, it was a design by KBD fans and done like it was a commissioned process, which a lot of times if you commission something, you have the ability to control whether or not it gets made without you, or like it only gets made with you saying yes, basically. That's what happens a lot of times. Just like GMK sets, if you go and try to hit up GMK and you're like, I'll give you $100,000 to make me a set of Olivia, they're going to ask Olivia. Like, they're not going to just do it. So, turns out that's not kind of the case. They are being made and being distributed.
Yeah, and they've been being made. So it's interesting. So I'm not going to show the link because I just don't really want to. But I have found them on a very popular website that is not common to find switches. I remember I found this about a month ago, and talked about in their Discord where I was like, these are T1 switches. All right. And like, down to the description of trying to be holy pandas. And I was like, why most people on this website are not going to know what holy pandas are, I guess, unless you're looking for them. But so they have been made, which obviously, we don't know all of the details behind the T1 and KBD fans input and all of that, but they have been being made so that you can find them. These were significantly more expensive, the ones that I found. But, the problem with that, though, is the koala switch, which was a very unique switch that I think a lot of people were probably more excited about the koala than they were about the actual T1. So the koala is basically a T1, but with different materials used. So it had a palm stem with nylon housing, actually lighter 62 gram spring. And I think people are excited for that. It was going to match a set called 2048. color scheme wise, and that nylon housing would have probably had, and it would have definitely had a significant difference in sound, and I imagine feel as well. So, so we haven't seen this switch really die. The Koala switch definitely did, but the T1 hasn't really gone away. You can find them if you look hard enough. But recently, on Mech Market and on Reddit and other sites as well, we've seen an interest check go up for T1 switches. So a guy posted new T1 interest check, and a lot of people do want, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes, but some people don't care about companies fighting each other over this, that, or whatever. Some people just want the end. That is your decision on whether or not you feel strongly enough to get something that might be stolen IP. I don't want to say stolen, but a gray area of intellectual property.
Well, I think Wei was expecting to get the molds back. Like, I think he was expecting to be the sole owner of the molds, and that didn't happen. And so this is like it's just like all like a weird situation. I think I remember when we first did the T1 video and we were talking about, and that was like the week that they went down, there were interest checks coming up about, oh, hey, I can get, we can make T1s. And then those all pretty much got cut. Like they ended up not happening because of backlash, because it was very much like no, we don't want to support this factory. But then now that we're, 4 months later, I think it was back in like late May. So like 3.5, 4 months later, it's like people are like, oh, sure. They don't know. The switch is almost removed from the drama at this point, I feel like, for a lot of people.
Yeah. And as we know, this T1 started from this company making fake Telio switches. So the T1 was kind of caught in the crossfire of a switch that wasn't even it. It was, this company was making Telios, and Zeal discovered that there's no way that the amount of stock that they were selling in Telios was equaling the amount he was sending them. And so, and that was because this company, they're claiming ignorance, and it is your decision to decide on whether or not to believe them or if ignorance is okay. So once again, we're dealing with a work gray shirt just for the gray area. But with the T1, it was from this factory, and that they severed ties. So, the thought there is, could be of, okay, well, there was no actual issue with the T1 switch. It was just an issue of business with that company and making a separate switch entirely. So, I got this. You can get all this info from the, you can look for it on the Mech Market interest check. It is a company named Duroc. And they're the company that makes the T1 switch. And, he's claiming ignorance. What, I don't know. I'm not the one to make a big decision on that, but there are kind of two sides to what you can view this as. Is, okay, can we get these switches out into the public? Is this a good thing? Is more switches like this a good thing or a bad thing, or are they trying to sell stolen property? So
yeah, it's just one of those things. Like you said, it's a giant gray area, and it's one of those things that's up to you personally. What's not even a side. It's like, what do you want? Do you want to support what you think could be good business practice, or what is do you want to support the Switch and having that be a part of the community? It's such a weird situation that I don't think this community has necessarily dealt with before on this scale. I don't know. It's weird because it's like, we talked a little bit about it with Nathan, similar situation, or not similar, but like close situation, with the fake GMK sets on sites like Alibaba or AliExpress, and what's the other one? Taibao.
Yeah.
Taibao. I think I said Taihao in the in the stream. AliExpress, but and that site, it's like the same situation. It's like, do you want to support something that's like not really cool to do, but is cool for some people, or do you just want to like have a Switch that's not really supposed to be like $3 a Switch that is $3 a Switch because they don't technically exist? I don't know.
Yeah, and so like going back to the koala, there was a post about this. So the koala was created by a guy named Bip. I think I'm saying that right. It's just BIP originally, and so this to me is, I mean, yes, you're still using the same concept of the T1 Switch. At this point, who's to say if you make one micrometer difference to the bump, is it completely a different Switch? And like it's one of those things where it's like if you take, I'm assuming that this is, I haven't looked into the I assume it's the same company that was originally going to make but with these different housings. And this was a Switch that a lot of people, I think more people were upset about the koala never making it to see the light of day, because people want to see new and interesting things. And I was excited. I know you were excited about trying to get your hands on some koala Switches. And so it was sad to see something like that kind of fail, with the nylon housing being a different thing that we've seen. Not really the biggest fan of the 62-gram spring, but some people are wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. But this is running again, and it's actually interesting because if you think about it, I mean, if this is I personally think the T1 Switch does not sound that great. I think it, compared to like a Holy Panda, which is what it's trying to be, it feels similar but doesn't sound similar even in the slightest. And where the koala would definitely feel or sound thicker sounding with a nylon, it will not sound as plasticky. And so it's interesting to see. And at 48 cents per Switch, that's actually cheaper than what T1s were initially. So, once again, you're looking at, are you wanting to see a Switch come out regardless of the background behind it? Or are you only worried about, not wanting to support a company because of X, Y, and Z? So.
Yeah, what I find interesting, so the interest check for the koala Switch went up on the 22nd, right? What I find kind of hilarious is that he has like actual Switches, like he already has some. Fropsy is the guy's name. And what's funny, huh? Yeah, right.
So what a name.
What's funny is that the koala Switches that he has say KBD fans on them. So it's just like, it's just such a weird situation. He's doing a relatively low run of them. The koala Switch was, if you want to talk about being caught in the crossfire, it really was, I think, the most out of all of them, because it never got a chance to even exist. Mm-hmm. It was in group buy at the time of the whole shenanigans happening.
And yeah, they just
and it
Pulled
was
the rug
just
right out
axed.
under
Yeah,
its feet.
it was like, because they announced that they weren't going to do anything with that manufacturer anymore. And then people were like, well, what's happening with Koala? And then they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to refund everyone. And everyone's order got canceled and refunded, which it sucks, because especially for Bip, because it's like he's done a lot for design this year with different stuff. You know, he did GMK dots. He's done a couple other things. And obviously he did extended 2048, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that like I want the Switch because I think it's a cool name and I think it's a cool idea. I would like to see how someone else would do a nylon housing. Obviously, that's going to make it sound more like a Holy Panda. I would be interested to see how it sounds, how it feels, and how this differs from the actual T1 Switch itself. Even with the same spring, like if you were to replace it with a standard T1 spring. But I just don't necessarily feel right, because I don't feel like the method of how it was obtained and how it's being done is necessarily 100% like legitimate.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, there is the statement, vote with your wallets, but I did some quick math. So MOQ is 10,000 units. He's maxing it at 150 orders. Doing some quick math, that's about 66 switches per order. I think that will definitely hit. There are over 400,000 people just in the Reddit community. So, I would have to say that there's probably at least 500,000 people in this community, just based off of Reddit numbers and numbers elsewhere. But I think 150 people will buy this. So the thing there is, you can vote with your wallet, but when there's something like this where it's like, it's not going to take much to get this off the ground, does voting with your wallet even do anything? And there are enough people, not that this is a bad thing, but there are enough people that just don't care. They just, so at some point I'm sure all of us at some point has made the decision of, I don't care about the business, just give me the. And I know that there are people that actively try and strive to prevent that. Like, I know there are certain companies that I try and avoid due to their business practices. But at the end of the day, voting with your wallet might not do anything. It might not prevent this from happening. And, what happens if the Koala is the next Holy Panda? What happens if it's like the greatest Switch that's ever been made? Like, we don't know that. So, are you going to start missing out on something that's awesome because of a morality decision? So that's, once again, never thought I'd be talking this much about morality when it comes to keyboards, but it's a sticky situation. Like me personally, I am torn, because I'm like, man, I would love to try them, but I don't really have any brand like loyalty, I guess, other than Zap. Shout out to John. I don't really have brand loyalty. Like, I won't not buy something because of someone else, because it's hard in this small of a community to have an insane amount of brand loyalty. You can not support whoever you want, but at the end of the day, most of the time it's not going to matter.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I'm kind of looking through the interest check thread, and there are people who are like having the same thoughts as we are. And there's also some people who are like literally just like, if the switches were good, and that's the case, why should I, as a consumer, care about the ethics of the manufacturer as long as they produce a quality product? And it's like, you kind of have a point, but at the same time, it's like, at what point do you, like, I feel like if this was like, I don't even know, because even in big business, like in terms of like Nike or Chick-fil-A. Those are two companies in the last 5 years have had big issues with stances that people took that they supported. Or, well, not even like Chick-fil-A situation. Their CEO was just like, had some very radical views about certain people.
Certain demographics.
Certain demographics of people. And I've always been like, dude, you need to shut up. Like, I don't care if that's how you feel, but don't speak for your company. But at the same time, that's beside the point. It's a similar situation. People boycotted those companies. You know, people boycotted Nike for the whole supporting Colin Kaepernick thing.
People boycott Apple all the time because they're like, I'm never going to buy an Apple thing. X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, but Apple's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And this company, if they continue to make these switches and people continue to buy them, it's not going anywhere. You might, I've talked about this before about, oh, darn, it took 2 days to fill up the group buy instead of 3 or instead of 1. Like, oh man, that company must be really hurting. Like,
It's just one of those things. It's like, as a relatively small community, should we, like, we have the power to make this switch a thing. We have the power to make this switch not be a thing. Mm-hmm. And not support this company or give them minimal support from the enthusiast community. Of course, like we always say, you can vote with your wallet there. I don't think personally I will be getting any, just because
I don't have enough boards for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have a need for them. And 2, I don't want to support this company because I think all around it's not a good look. I feel like it's just one of those things. It's just not, personally, I don't support that business being done in this way where it's like all shady and under the table stuff and that kind of stuff. Personally, I'm just like, you know what? I'll go with someone who is a little bit more straight up and is not going to lie about selling fake switches and then turn around and try to sell a switch that they technically stole on the largest retailer in the world.
Mm-hmm. And that's, if so, Osiris has given his opinion. I will give mine. I'm a little bit more on the consumer side. I personally, at the end of the day, I know that people are angry about who, what, where, when, and why, but I view it as this, like, yeah, it kind of sucks that he stole from KBD fans. I still support KBD fans and I still support the community moving forward. And if this company is a way to bring something that doesn't exist to light, then full force, 100% transparency. I will not be getting Quell switches because I don't need them. I'd love to try one, but at the end of the day, it's not, I kind of have we're not going to like solve anything by sitting here going, oh, I'm going to support this, I'm not going to support this or whatever, because the companies are still there clearly because they're being made. So why should I miss out on something? And, whether that makes me a bad person or not, it's up to you to decide really. But, you make your own decision. Don't listen to somebody else though. That's what I would say. Because, I say my thing, this is kind of our next and last talking point. As much as I would love to see these things made, just because I feel like they kind of missed their shot at being a legitimate switch, do we really need more Holy Panda type switches?
I mean, okay, let's be real. We have the drop Holy Pandas. We have the original B-Sun switches, which apparently are being made again in like a clear bottom at some soon. We have 4 versions of the ones from Novel Keys, and the trash pandas are 100% staying on Novel Key's site as a permanent stock item. So no, because I felt T1s, I felt the different Holy Panda variations. The different Holy Panda variations are all better than the T1s, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
I think
worth the money, worth the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, while the T1's great, I think the direct competitor to the T1 is not the Holy Panda. It's the Zelio V2. And while it is more expensive, the Zelio V2 is strictly better, in my opinion, because you can get it in different spring weights. So you don't have to worry about dealing with potentially not want a 67 gram. If you want something lighter or heavier, you can get that. Two, my biggest gripe with the T1s is that the housing is loose. So on the housing, for those who don't know, there's a top that clamps onto the bottom. And with Holy Pandas, a lot of them are tight, which is why they're kind of annoying to work with. So I know you are definitely
especially the drop ones were just they're just so tight to fit into plates. Mm-hmm. It's just like they are there. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah. And so those tolerances prevent wobble. And overall, if a piece of plastic is loose, you're going to hear that and feel that. And that was the one thing that after using the T1s for about a day, I was like, this is a pretty solid switch. After a week, I was like, no, okay, the problems are really starting to shine through now. And then they sound pretty much on par with Zelio, but you even kind of hear a little bit more plasticky because that plastic is moving. So especially with the T1, I'm like, it doesn't need to be a thing. If people want it, at this point, people are buying it, in my opinion, because they're like, I want this because it doesn't exist. I'm like, but you can get other things. And I guess, yes, if you want to pay half the price for Zelio, or half the price of a Zelio for this T1, you're kind of going to get what you pay for. And honestly, there are things that are just better for the same, if not maybe slightly more of a price.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. They don't necessarily like. The argument before was, do they, we're losing this great Switch at a great price point, or this good Switch at a great price point. I don't want to say great Switch because it's okay. In both of our opinions, we can both say it's okay. It's not incredible. It's not awful.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's not a bad Switch.
But my thing is, with all the different Switches that have come out, are out on the market, you've got, even since the T1 has come out, we've seen the rise in the different inks variants, the different pandas, the creams are basically like what if you mix a cream and you get a stem from a Halo shroom,
Pacos,
you can make Holy Pacos, and it's like basically what a koala is going to be,
just in a slightly different color, which that's a whole nother thing. But Switch color to me doesn't matter.
No,
you don't see them. It looks pretty for pictures, and then you put switches on top. Until that GMK set of clear caps come out, it's not going to really matter.
But T1s just don't like, at the end of the day, if you were going to spend, because they were like 60 cents a Switch or something like that?
55 cents.
55 cents, right? So like if you're spending 55 cents a Switch, right? We're talking about Switches. For most people who build like one or two boards, like they're not building a ton of boards all the time. This is a one-time expense. You put them in there. You maybe lube them, you put them in there, and you're done with it. And it's a one-time investment. Why not spend a little bit more money and get something that maybe is arguably better, like a Zeal V2, an actual Holy Panda of some variety? why not just, or even like if you want to get something that's like this close to the same price, that's gonna not have as much wobble and is gonna be better and is gonna have more protectivity, just get box Royals, like,
Yep.
or get one of the Heiko box switches, like
for the exact same price.
For the same price. Like, it's just one of those things. The variety is good. I agree. I can see the argument there, but at the end of the day, if the T1 was gone, like actually gone, I don't think it would necessarily matter. And I don't think the Switch itself is good enough to warrant a super increase in those that in price in the ones that are actually out in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they would maybe go up to $1 a Switch. You know, obviously as time goes on, they'll go up more, but it's not like we'll look back. We're not going to look back 2 years later and be like, man, the T1 was an amazing Switch.
And what's crazy is like I was seeing them as high up as like 85 cents a Switch. That's a $10 difference between that and a set of Zelios. And Zelios run on drop. Zelios run on drop. Zeal has sales for them every now and then. Like at $8 for a pack of 10 or 80 cents a Switch. Like, you know, do what you want. Spend the money, spend your hard-earned money however you would like. But, you know, it just... I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. I think there are always going to be interest checks and people are going to keep trying to get these T1 switches back up for a while. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Final thoughts for me are, honestly, I don't like, at the end of the day, I don't really care. Like it's going to happen. I don't want to support the manufacturer. I appreciate people trying to make the koala switch a thing. I don't support the manufacturer. I support what the people are trying to do and trying to make that switch a thing. But I feel like the manufacturer did things wrong. Not down for that. But at the end of the day, to me, it doesn't really matter. I feel like the community has almost turned a corner at this point. We're out of the tactile switch holy land, and we've gone into our midsummer madness of inks and linear switches. We're going back to the linear days, boys. Until we get our next great tactile switch, we'll be on linears for a while, it seems like.
Yeah, so, and I guess my final thoughts are just support who you want to support. I mean, you can make that decision on your own, make that decision on your own. You know, we've seen in the past where voting with your wallet doesn't always work. Sometimes it doesn't work. So I think on this kind of small scale where the money is not like huge amounts of money, it's not going to really matter. But when, you know, to me, it's a good practice of voting with your wallet, because there are things that like certain group buy runners maybe that you don't want to support anymore based off of X, Y, and Z, that might actually affect. So you might actually see a change, but I just don't think on this scale with a company like that clearly is not hurting with these switch sales. I just don't see it being something that's really going to make waves. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to be getting. I already have T1 switches. I bought them before the scandal happened, and I will not be getting. I might try and get one koala switch. I don't think they're going to let me order just one.
Just one switch.
I just have to hit someone up for one.
We didn't hit MOQ. We didn't hit MOQ because some guy ordered one.
Some guy wasted one of our 150 orders on one. Now, I imagine some dude's going to go in there and buy like 500. But you know, support who you want to support. Vote with your wallet. Make your own decisions about stuff.
Yeah.
Practice good business practices. If you're running a business, don't be a dick.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, just don't be a dick. Just be a good dude.
Just be cool guy. Be like Krelbit and Dixie and John.
Yeah, our sponsors.
Our sponsors. Guys who are not dicks.
That's true.
Starting off, Krelbit runs switchmod.net. Talked about it in the beginning, but 4% off. 4% off your order of lubes and springs, and if you're getting the T1 switch and you don't like the springs, no. And then GMK
Sandstorm
Dust 2. GMK Sandstorm is launching soon. That discount does not work on that, but be sure to check that out as well as Dixie Mech. You can go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com. 9009's running, $100 base kit. Definitely something you want to keep your eyes peeled for, because that is a great set. Goes with a lot of keycaps, and he's got some other cool stuff on there as well. So,
yep. And then of course, don't forget about Zap cables. Get your custom USB cables, custom other cables that he does. I even saw he did patch cables for guitar stuff a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. You can get whatever you want from him in terms of custom cables. You can even make your own with our video. Also, do not forget to join the giveaway to win a bumper. This curvy, thick. She thick.
She dumb thick. So what's cool is during the giveaway, so how it works is you do a couple different things. Some's going to John's Discord, Zap Discord, some's our Discord. So what's cool about September is that it's September. So one of the ways that you join to get a couple extra, I guess, think of it as like tickets in a raffle. So you can get a couple extra entries by subbing to us on our Twitch, and our Twitch is below. But at September, it's actually half the price for a sub. So, you can still use Twitch Prime, but we do want to offer extra help to the people that support us in any way, shape, or form. We definitely appreciate it. You do not have to sub to get in the raffle. It just gives you a couple extra entries. But with it being September, it kind of worked. We didn't even really plan that. And then we were talking like last week, and we were like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. It's cheaper to get in that extra stuff. So if you feel like supporting us, by all means, we definitely appreciate it. But yeah, is it gleam.io? I've messed this up like 8 times.
Gleam.
But the link will be below.
But yeah. And then of course, speaking of Twitch, we will be streaming tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time. So come on over, throw us a follow, check us out.
Got Myknos, the creator of JTK Arctic.
Yep. And Fuyu.
GMK Fuyu in interest check right now. So we'll be picking his brain, talking to him. He's a local guy too.
He is. Yep. He's from just up the road. So
yep.
But yeah, I think that's about it. If you liked it, like the video. If you didn't, go away.
Sorry about you, fam. Buy a switch tester, and you can put your T1 switch and your koala switch on.
It's true. Embrace the wobble.
Embrace it.
Bye now.
All right. Have a good one.